Hi there, Richard. Lovely to have you here. Actually, can you give the folks at Tasman a bit of an update on what you're doing with Barnabas Aid?
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Carrying on doing what I've been doing the last couple of years, but developing relationships with churches, informing them about the work of Barnabas Aid, and trying to develop a realistic relationship with each church so that they really feel a part of things. But I like to describe my work, I suppose, as introducing churches to other members of the family.
Oh, so that's the wider worldwide Christian body of Christ. That's the family.
Right.
Yeah. So what's the current emphasis then, or I guess what are the top three emphasis or thrusts of the work of Barnabas Aid on the worldwide stage then, with that bigger family of God?
Yeah, it's always keeping an eye out for those parts of the world where it's more extreme to be a Christian, to be on the wrong side of the law, ostracized by the community, to be under the death penalty. So that's always been an emphasis for the last 30 years. The other two that are emerging is what we call our food.gives initiative. And you can find out about that on food.gives/NZ. It's really a way of keeping Christians alive, supplying their absolute needs of basic foods.
Yep.
And that's going really well. We've probably fed about 65 million people over the last 18 months.
Oh, that's a big number.
The other emphasis would be our academic wing, which is the producing of courses. A lot of them are Christian courses to prepare the future and the current church for leaders across the world, leaders of congregations that would have hundreds or thousands in them. And we produce Christian courses, but we also produce practical courses about self-supporting businesses, horticulture, and that's accessible online. It's cheap, relatively cheap by Western standards, and so that's accessible. So developing the Christian leadership for those new converts, which will inevitably come in the parts of the world where we're working.
Well, that's good, Richard. So Richard, what then would be a couple of lessons that we could learn from the suffering, or those that are in the persecuted body of Christ around the world?
Yeah, thanks. I think it's to be faithful to the good news of Jesus, whatever your circumstances. Suffering is relative across the world. There are some more brutal circumstances and some more subtle circumstances of controlling people. So the one would be being faithful to the good news. The other is being prepared to live that out and share it. I think the suffering church and the persecuted church is being honoured by God because they do that, whatever the circumstances and whatever the consequences.
Yeah.
That's a good lesson for us to learn.
Oh, well, thank you, Richard. Yeah, that's a really good, quick insight of what your work is. You and Carol, based from Amberley and travelling around New Zealand, currently here in Tasman. Would you like to say something back to Tasman Church briefly before we close off?
I would. I'm always grateful for my time. I learned so much from the folks there, but particularly I'm grateful currently because of your support. I like to think that you feel that you are part of the work.
Yes, we do.
And I'm really appreciative of the generosity and engagement that Tasman has with Barnabas Aid, and for us personally. That's been brilliant.
Thank you, Richard.